Now, Muslims are surprisingly open and honest in polls because they know they have nothing to fear from the governments who welcome them with open arms. I want to quote from a Pew Global poll from 2013 about attitudes in Islamic countries. The people of Islamic nations also believe that Western nations do not respect Arab or Islamic values. Good, we don't, they're crap. Do not support Arab causes. Good, we don't, they're crap. And do not exhibit fairness towards Arabs, Muslims, or in particular the situation in Palestine. Why should we? They're fucking terrorists. Some of those were quotes, some of those weren't. Some of you may not understand why I'm quoting a poll about Islamic nations when I'm talking about the West, but those are the people you're welcoming here. Muslims flooding into Germany and the rest of Europe aren't older or moderate Muslims from the United Kingdom or the United States. They're more radical, and they reflect the values and the morals of Islamic countries. One of the easiest ways to get a sense for Islam's habit of tightly controlling every land it takes over is attitudes around Sharia law. Now, Sharia law is Islamic religious law, which remarkable number of Muslims in the West believe should supersede the law of the country in which they live. In 2015, the Center of Security Policy commissioned a poll of Muslims in America. It found that 30% of American Muslims believe that it is legitimate to use violence against those who insult Islam. Let's be clear what that means. 3 in 10 Muslims believe that if you joke about Muhammad, they have the right to punch you. Or worse, shoot you, blow you up, as is their favorite method of... Oh, I mean, in the West we have this sort of, long tradition of civilized debates. Sort of, Sir, I find your proposition unacceptable. Other places in the world, it's just... 30%. Not of Muslims in Saudi Arabia, not of Muslims in Aleppo, not of Muslims in anywhere else that you might have dimly heard of, that you might vaguely be aware of, but Muslims here, 3 in 10, believe that if you make a joke about Islam, they are justified in committing violent acts against you. 33%, and this is way more chilling, way more terrifying for you guys, said that Sharia should take precedence over the Constitution if they clash. So if, for instance, the First Amendment the First Amendment says you can be, do, and say whatever you want, but Sharia says insult Muhammad and you die, 1 in 3 Muslims believe you should die. Here. Not in Saudi Arabia. Here. According to a Wenzel Strategies poll in 2012, 58% of Muslim Americans believe criticism of Islam or Muhammad is not protected free speech under the First Amendment. That is to say, just about 60% of them think that I can't say I find Islam to be shit and be protected under the First Amendment. 45% that believe that those who mock Islam should face criminal charges. 12%, this is my all-time favorite, I say favorite, this is my all-time favorite statistic about American Muslims, and I'm not sure it's even this bad in Britain or Belgium, and both of those places are pretty fucking terrible as far as Islamic attitudes go. 12% of American Muslims believe that that blaspheming against Islam, joking about Muhammad, or saying that Islam sucks, should be punishable by death. 1 in 10. These people live close to you. They study with you. Some of them might even teach you. 1 in 10. Death. 26% of young Muslims in America believe that suicide bombings are justified, because of course they do. It shouldn't surprise us, given everything that's happened. And 35% of young Muslims in Britain believe that suicide bombings are justified too. You're lucky. Only a quarter of your Muslims think that suicide bombings are all right. You're okay. A third of ours do. But you're okay. Only 1 in 4 of your Muslim friends think that suicide bombings are justified. My fucking God, what is wrong with you people? What is wrong with you people? You have not learned your lesson after 9/11. You have not learned your lesson after Orlando. You have not learned any of the lessons these people have been perfectly happy to teach you. Obama's welcoming in 12.5 Syrian migrants. Not refugees, they're migrants. Thank you. In the dying days of his presidency, when he knows he can sort of get away with anything because people are paying attention to Trump and Hillary. 12,500. Not even the start. Imagine what's happening in Canada and how easy it will be for them to get over the border. All right, now the most important part, if that wasn't all horrifying enough. 45% of Sharia supporters surveyed disagreed with the idea that Islamic law should apply only to Muslims. So, what this means is 45% of people who believe that there should be Sharia law in the United States, that's half of them, every other one, who says that they like Sharia law, says that it shouldn't only apply to Muslims, it should apply to you too. So, women, could you stand up in the room, please? The girls, could you stand up? Lots of them. More women than are normally at my talks. No. No. I wasn't assuming anyone's gender. I asked ladies to stand up. They identified themselves as women. So fuck you. But yes, they are women because they were born with vages. Now, your testimony in court is worth half that of mine. That's what every other Muslim in this country who wants Sharia law enacted believes is reasonable and appropriate, and law inspired by the divine. Allah wishes it. Your testimony is worth half that of a man's. Progressives have the fucking gall to suggest that these people are victims, these people are deserving, that Islamophobia is a thing, that these people should be given special treatment over the women they oppress and the homosexuals they execute. Fuck Hillary Clinton and her pandering to gays at home whilst taking hundreds of millions of dollars taking hundreds of millions of dollars from Saudi Arabia from people who believe this. I don't believe any of the people standing in this room. I don't believe any of their testimony is worth half that of a man's. In many cases, they may be more sensible than a man's. I don't believe that about women, despite my reputation as misogynist, because I don't happen to like a sort of crazy third-wave feminism. I happen to love women. Where would gay men be without women? We need you to go shopping. We need you to hang out with us. We need you to cry with us when our boyfriends leave us. I'm just kidding. I've actually never been dumped, just to say. But all the people I've dumped have needed women to... I don't believe that your testimony is worth half that of a man's. Nor do I believe that whipping and beating you is a perfectly reasonable response to bad behavior. No. Nor do I believe that you should be stoned to death for fucking someone else. You can sit down, thank you so much. Nor do I believe that either, but half of the Sharia supporters surveyed do think those things, and they don't just think that it should apply to Muslim communities, they think it should apply to you too. This is the sort of caliphate building I've been telling you about. This is the sort of stuff that I've been warning you about. Now, you can kiss goodbye to your bacon, by the way, because people who believe that Sharia law should apply to everyone believe that this sort of stuff should not be available no matter what faith you are. The good news is that according to CNN, if you want to bring out your humanitarian instincts, the good news is that the only people coming here from Syria are needy women and children. The only people coming here from... No, they're not. They're all, huge quantities of them, particularly in Europe, as we've seen in Germany, are 22-year-old men. They're coming over ready to fuck and fight.